Sports Lounge. We're inside my house today. If you would like us at your house, please contact us on the Facebook page. I'm sure
arrangements can be arranged.
We'd love to come into your home, make some brownies, and we'll be out of your hair.
It's kind of like college game day, except there's not an actual game we'll be broadcasting.
But there's a huge crowd outside.
Yeah, there's a kind of pep rally going on.
They'll have their signs.
I imagine we'll go out and talk to them briefly.
Oh well, we'll make some pics.
Yeah, you bet.
first time in a week, over a week, we're all here. Coming up next,
Great to be back.
Great to be back. Charles, welcome.
Here on the Sports Lounge.
Yep.
How was your
back
weekend?
on the show. It was good. I enjoyed myself.
Good.
Sang some songs. Good times were had by.
How long? Somebody that's not having a real good weekend.
14,
A real good couple of weeks. Penn State, everybody involved. In that sticky mess, you have Joe Paterno. He's going to step down at the end of the year. You have Jerry Sandusky, the guy at the eye of the storm with the child molesting
that should be
in the
one of the
showers.
shots coming
The
back.
whole thing is just a poor situation that could have been stopped long ago.
It's out of control, and the thing is, we can't sit here and honestly think that Paterno deserves the rest of the year because look at the circus that's going on right now. It's incredible. You have students who are rioting. I mean, you've got this media storm surrounding it, and that's not. I don't think that's going to let up at all. I don't think. I just don't see why they would let him finish out the year. I know he's Joe Pa, the old coach, been there for 45 plus years. That has to end because it's not going to level itself out anytime soon, and especially now that Paterno is going to be on the sideline, trying to move on from this because I don't think he can.
This is a piece with a lot of moving elements, and I think the thing that kind of catches me is, okay, we came out of Tuesday with Paterno saying, all right, basically I want to talk. Penn State doesn't let him talk. Apparently, Joe Pa is Penn State, and it looks like in this Penn State scenario, the university wants to have a scapegoat, and I think Paterno might be either setting himself up for that or the university is going to push him into that role, because I think they've got to put this on somebody, and I don't think the president, Graham Spanier, is going to want to take on that role. And the other two guys, other than Sandusky, are already indicted. So I think Paterno, while legally he's not guilty of anything, he's guilty in every other regard, and I think he's going to come out on the shortest end of this scenario.
Yeah, it's a really bad and unfortunate incident. I mean, I read a little bit about it and watched some and actually struggled because it's such... it's so over the top compared to all the other scandals. I mean, people are talking about, Terrell Pryor and Cam Newton, and it's like, well, that's wrong with the NCAA rules, but that's legal. This is illegal. Mm-hmm. And there were so many opportunities, it sounded like, that they had opportunities to stop this and didn't. And it's very, it's bad. It's really bad.
And when you take into account that he did this at the university, they let him keep coming back as recently as last week, and he had his own camp for kids, and you're just kind of like, this is bad. It's weird. There's nothing good from it. And to call yourself one of the model programs in college football, and then for the last however long it's been, and the number was at 8 or 9 victims, and it's going to go higher from what we've been hearing. And this is bad. This will tarnish Penn State for a very long time.
Yeah, there's some serious house cleaning that's in order, and I think they got to start as soon as possible. Another thing is, there's no voice in this whole thing. There's no Penn State person who's saying things that need to be said to this ordeal. Instead, you have Paterno out, shouting to students outside of his living room window. Just a really confusing, weird scene where he's talking to kids and saying, "Thanks, this means a lot to me," and then he goes, "We are Penn State." The whole thing is just it's almost sickening. It's terrible. Paterno needs to go. If Paterno wants to be in the best interest of Penn State, he steps down. He needs to do it right now. I don't see. When I heard he was going to retire after this year, it's like, well, what were the odds you were going to do that anyway, Paterno? It's a bad thing. Paterno's just a part of it. in a part of this huge mess that we've never seen before, not to this level.
I don't think he gets it. I don't think he's gotten it for a while. Obviously, by not taking the right steps when he first found out about this, he didn't get it then, and he doesn't get it now. And I think he might not ever fully understand. And I think part of that is he's been out of touch with what's been going on for years now, and that's on the football field, and that proves that either he knew and he has been morally corrupting this whole scenario, or he's truly
we wonder if he knew about it, neglected to act on it. Was it because it was so shocking to even consider, or was it self-preservation? Did he want to preserve his legacy as long as he could? We don't know the answers to that. That's going to be purely speculative, probably for a long time, but
and probably never will know the answer.
Probably not.
Sandusky is found in the shower in 2002. Not the first time that's happened, but that's one of the key dates in this thing. The GA, the current receivers coach for Penn State, tells Joe Paterno what he saw. Paterno then goes to the athletic director, tells him what he heard. So how much blame do we put on the athletic director here for not doing anything in the first place?
As much or more, but the limelight is not going to be on them. It's going to be on Paterno, because he's the face of this university.
Was that right?
No, it's not right. Yeah. It's not, because Curley and the other guy, Schultz, are just as guilty as Paterno. They're more guilty, I would say, because they're the ones who, Paterno just tells you you're going to sit on this for a week and a half, knowing this, and then you're going to say, well, don't bring kids on campus. If you have any care for your university or the kids in this scenario who aren't going to have a voice, like Drew said, you got to go to the police. Like, that's the only step.
That's the thing forgotten in the whole thing is, where's the phone call? You would hope immediately as that comes to light, you get this victim and you go, come with me. We're going to the police station. That never happened. All the way down the line, we try to assign blame. It's on everybody. It really is.
Yeah,
there's nobody here where you think this person's entirely innocent besides the victims in these cases.
I think one of the other unfortunate things is that you've got all these people in charge of a university, in charge of kids. I mean, legally they're adults because they're football players and all the other people they're in charge of, but young adults nonetheless. And the people that they're supposed to look up to and learn things from, and then they just kind of this person and this person and this person and this person and so many people had a chance at some point to stop this, and obviously that did not happen. And that's like, I'm not going to sit here and say whether it's the worst thing you can do or not. If it's not, it's pretty high up on the list, though.
There was an incident back in 1998 where sort of the same things happened, and the police kind of said to Sandusky, "Don't take showers with kids again." Like, you have to tell him that. And obviously, he did not, keep his word on that. And he was arrested a few days ago, and now he's back at home, 1,000 feet from a school. And so obviously, and nothing's going to happen to him until the first week of December. So he's still out there. So they want people to go to the authorities and the police on this, but even they have shown that they're not putting down the law like they should on a situation like this.
Yeah, and I think if I have this right, it's been all university police up until now. University police falls under the president's watch. And for me, it's nice to see that Paterno is going to ultimately lose his job. The president is at the top. You can't have something like this happen and not pay the consequences as far as his job. And I think he should be criminally liable, for something. Whether or not that's possible, I don't know. But to let this whole, because the police part of it is just as disturbing to me as any other piece. To just let it go when your higher ups know about this.
Because everybody's saying to Paterno, well, you should have went to the police on this. Well, even if he did, are they going to do anything? Because they've proven in the past they didn't do anything. So who's to say, he goes to the police and they just sweep it under the rug again?
Well, we can talk for hours on this. This person's at fault, this person's at fault, this person's at fault. police, administrators, coaches, Paterno, graduate assistants. This is a deep, concern. It's throughout this whole process. I mean, the whole thing. Again, I think it's so sickening to even sort through all of this stuff as far as assigning blame. There just needs to be a widespread cleansing of the highest order. New presidents, new ADs, whole new staff. This is bad. This has definitely set them back a long time. And the Paterno era comes to a ridiculously just horrifying end.
What does this do for Penn State, not even the football program or the school? Because you mentioned the president, he's not coming back. The AD, he's not coming back. Your football coach that has been there for 45 years, he's not coming back.
Yeah, one of the other unfortunate things with this is through the fallout of it is, there's going to be a lot of players here kind of thrown under the bus in one way or another through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
I would assume none of them knew anything about this, being that this guy wasn't even the coordinator and hasn't been for a decade or whatever. And that's unfortunate. And like you said, I mean, they're gonna have to clean house. We'll see what Penn State looks like in the future. It could be vastly, vastly different.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think some of the players there. If Penn State's going downhill, and they are, some of those players that are there are going to want to get out. Nobody's going to come. What coach is going to want to take on this job when we thought Miami was bad earlier this year, when it's pretty clear that who knows what the NCAA will do. They're as unpredictable as it gets, but you got to think that if they're going to levy a big punishment, it's going to be on Penn State for something.
I don't think they will. I don't
think they will either.
Which they should, because this is way worse than any Miami, Ohio State, SMU, anything that's ever been done.
This isn't even the same.
Way worse than any of this. This isn't even in the same category.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, I don't know how do you levy out sort of a death sentence in this regard.
And
I think it's going to kind of play out like that already. We'll see about that.
And like Charlie said, is it fair to do something when nobody there now is responsible for what happened 10 years ago?
Well, I mean, and I get all that, but why would you want to be associated with Penn State right now? Everything that Penn State for the last 100 years has stood for, and Joe Paterno for the last 45 years, why would you want to stay there at all? When everything that's been built up will now be gone. It's gone. I mean, as a student, any everyday student, I can't honestly say I'd be real comfortable being there. And that's not an indictment on anybody else other than the athletic people, but it's scary.
And then the fact that now you have a coach who is apparently, as of right now, going to be at that game in Nebraska. You're basically accepting negligence from your number one guy at the entire university who heard about it. It's a fact that he heard about the stuff that went down, and yet a decade later it finally comes to light. You're by not forcing him out, you are basically saying, oh well, in this whole thing.
I'm sure we'll talk about this later on in the week, but coming up next, we'll get to the actual games of the college football weekend here on the Sports Law.